We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 47a. On the previous summit, the Gemara was discussing which kinds of individuals are not allowed to testify because they're considered to be Nogeya B'Dover. They have an interest in the case. And the Gemara now says Kablan. When it comes to a Kablan is also a kind of guarantor. Amri Lo Meid, some say that he could testify. V'Amri Lo Eino Meid, and some say that he's not allowed to testify. And the Rashbam explains Kablan is an Orev Kablan. It's a kind of guarantor. Shekibel Hamos Miyad Shal Malva. The difference is that he actually receives the money from the hands of the lender, V'Nasan Liyado Shalov, and then he gives the money over to the borrower. So he's almost like a go-between, somebody who's in between the lender and the borrower. So this is a person who's really like a more powerful kind of guarantor. V'Zeu Dino, and the halacha is that whoever the malva wants to collect from, he can collect from first. It's different than a regular orev. Aval orev stam, when it comes to a regular orev, ein tovin l'orev tchila, you can't claim from the orev first, yamid malva l'lova bedin, until the lender takes the borrower to court, v'yichayvu l'shalim, and they say he's chayiv to pay, v'ein lo mal lifro, he doesn't have what to pay, v'yoz yigva min ha'orev, and then only then do you collect from the orev. In other words, the orev is the second level of collection when it comes to a standard orev, but when it comes to a kablan, again, this kind of orev kablan, then you can collect from, the malva can collect from him even at first if he wants. And the Rashbam continues, Amri lo meid kamo orev, some say he can testify just like an orev is allowed to testify. And again, we said in the previous summit, an orev is not allowed to testify in all situations, but as long as the piece of property that the orev is testifying about, he's testifying that the lova has this property, as long as it's not the only property of the lovas, there is something else that the malva can collect from, then the orev really doesn't have a self-interest, so we said he's allowed to testify, and the same would be true over here. V'amri lo eino meid, but some say since he's an orev kablan, he's not allowed to testify even in that situation. As the Rashbam explains, da'akati nogeya be'edus, so he's still considered to be nogeya be'edus, he has an interest over here. Denichole denukma tarvayu arasa biyadi delova, because when it comes to an orev kablan, he wants to keep both properties. Even if the lova has another property, he wants him to have another property as well, a second property. Kiyechi de lahavale ari tuva, so he has a lot of land. Ziborius ubeinanis, he'll have an inferior land, he'll have an average land. D'chiyasa malva lemikvi beinanis de kablan, kedin balchov shadino bebeinanis. That way, when the lender comes to collect the average land of the kablan, like a balchov who normally collects the beinanis, leimaleh, he can say to him, etin lach beinanis de lovis, I'm going to give you the beinanis of the lova. V'hilkach have a nogeya be'edus. That's why it's considered like he has an interest over here in the testimony. D'ilo have lelova beinanis, because if the lova doesn't have beinanis, lo ligvi malva elami beinanis de kablan. The malva is going to decide, I'll go to the kablan instead of the lova so I can get some beinanis. Tahachi havidina, because that happens to be the halacha again, like we said, by an orev kablan, dil cholman de boy tava beresh, he can claim from anyone he wants to first. Aval ba'orev stam like a lememar hachi, you can't say that by a regular orev. The cholkama de islay lelova lemifra amidi, as long as the lova, the borrower, has any land to collect from, the afilu ziboris, even if it's inferior land, lav kol kamina de malva lemahadar gabe orev. It's the malva is not really allowed in that case to go after the orev. Again, if the lova has some land, like we're going to say later on, he's not allowed to collect from the orev at first. And the Gemara continues and explains what the Rashbam just said. Amri lo meid ka orev dami. Some say that the kablan is allowed to testify just like a regular orev. V'amri lo, and some say eino meid, he's not allowed to testify denichale de lahavi biyode tarvayu, because it's beneficial for the kablan that the lova should have both properties. The chiyasi balchov man de boy shakel. That way, when the balchov comes, he can take what he wants. So again, according to that view, there is an interest. The kablan does have a self-interest, and he's not allowed to testify. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Uman ein lo chazaka, like we said before, a craftsman is not able to make a chazaka because he might have the item, not because he owns the item, but because he's working on the item. But Ben Uman, the son of a craftsman, yesh lo chazaka, he is able to make a chazaka because he is not the craftsman himself. Aris ein lo chazaka, a sharecropper, like we said before, he doesn't make a chazaka on the land because he's supposed to be working the land, but Ben Aris, but the son of the sharecropper, yesh lo chazaka, he is able to make a chazaka. Gazlan, when it comes to a gazlan, a thief, uben gazlan, and also the son of a thief, ein lahen chazaka, they're not able to make a chazaka. We'll see the Rashbam in a moment. Ben beno shel gazlan, when it comes to the son of the gazlan, yesh lo chazaka, so there he does have a chazaka. The grandson of the gazlan is able to make a chazaka. And the Gemara says, hey chidami, well, what exactly is the case over here? Ida asu b'tanasa da'avuon. If the case is that they're all claiming they have the property based on the fact that their father had it, so their father had the property and now they got it, and they inherited it from their fathers. So afilu hanach namilo. So why are you saying, let's say the son of a craftsman can make a chazaka, or the son of an oris can make a chazaka? Why should that be? If the son of the craftsman is just saying he got it from his father, who was the craftsman who couldn't make a chazaka, why does the son suddenly get it? And he delo us b'tanas adavu. And if they're not coming based on the claim of their fathers, they're basing it on themselves, so to speak. They're simply saying, this is my item. So then we shouldn't go the other way. Afilu ben gazlan nami. Even when it comes to the son of a gazlan, we should say that the son of a gazlan can make a chazaka. It has nothing to do with his father. And the Gemara answers, lo no tzricha. It's necessary in the following case. The Eidim are saying, Befanenu hodelo, in front of us, the other party, the party who's arguing, he actually admitted, he said that yes, it did belong to the father. So Hanach, so now when it comes to these other individuals, the son of the Uman, the son of the Oris, Ikul Meimar Kushta Kamri, you can say that they're telling the truth. But when it comes to this case, meaning the son of a Gazlan, Afagav de Odinami lo mehem, even if the person admitted that it belonged to this person's father again was the Gazlan, it wouldn't even be believed. We wouldn't even care that he admitted. Kidder Rav Kahana, it's like Rav Kahana said, the Yamar Rav Kahana, because Rav Kahana said, he laved the Odile, if he doesn't admit to him, have him mamti leo l'chamri l'shachvar, he's going to take him, and he'll take his donkey to the shachvar, to the taskmaster. The idea is, since this person's father was a Gazlan, of course he admitted to the person's father. This person's father is somebody who is violent, who is difficult to deal with, and therefore the admission doesn't really count for anything. And the Rashbam explains, Gazlan l'kamon mefarish, it will be explained as we go on, hechidami, what exactly is a Gazlan? Yeshem mefarish hochzik begazlonos al sadazu. Some are going to explain that it means that on this particular field, there's a presumption that this person's a Gazlan, uvahai sadahu dein lo chazaka, just on this field there's no chazaka. Yeshem mefarish l'kamon, some explain later on, kagon rotseach nefashos aliske mammon, it's somebody who's willing to kill over money. V'hilgach ein lo chazak al shum karka shel acherim b'olam, such a person can't make a chazak on any kind of land. And so then the Gemara said, now if these sons are coming based on the claim from their father, they're simply saying that our father bequeathed it to us, and that's why you'll say the son of a Gazlan has no chazaka, because we don't make a claim on behalf of the Yorish, since he's coming from the strength of his father who's a Gazlan, he's not even making a claim that I got it from my father who bought it from you, Kamoy Didi, in front of me that I saw the purchase, then de lahem ne'al yedei migo, then we might believe him through a migo, demotzi yamar zavnes minach, he could say, I bought it directly from you. Hilka chazaka she'eni motayni, therefore what essentially happens here is that it's a chazaka without a claim. Sharei ein la'aba chazaka, because the father doesn't have a chazaka. V'gam haben haba mikocho, and also the son who comes from the strength of the father, ein chazkaso chazaka, his chazaka doesn't count either. V'kevan mikoach havu and ka'as, so since they're coming from the strength of their fathers, afilo hanach, also the other cases, ben umanu, Venoris Nami, when it comes to the son of the craftsman, the son of the sharecropper as well, Lola Havelu Chazaka, they shouldn't have a Chazaka. And then you're going to say the other way, Ela Betaina den Afshayu, I know Zavanta Minach, if you're going to say that they're coming with their own claim that I bought it from you, so then again they all should have a Chazaka. And the Gemara answered, Lo Tzricha, no, it's necessary to Ka'asu Betana Asadavu, and they are coming based on the strength and the claim of their father. Uchagon do Amru, in the cases though where they say that Uchagon do Amru Eidim Befanenu, the case is where Eidim say in front of us that Hoda Lo Hama'arir La'avion, that the guy who's protesting, who says it's really his property, he already admitted to their father, La'avion Shalelu, to the father of these individuals, Shamachu Lahem, that he sold it to them. Hilgach therefore goes as follows: Hanach ben Arzu ben Uman Ikol Amemar Kushta Kami. When it comes to the son of the sharecropper, the son of the craftsman, we can say they're telling the truth. Keshatoanin Avinu Lachum Imcha, when they make the claim that our father bought it from you, Sharei Hoda, because there was already an admission. Va'odo Asbaldin Kamei Eidim, and the admission is like 100 Eidim. Aval ben Gazlan, when it comes to the son of a Gazlan, Afagav de Odi, even though there was an admission, Hai Ma'arer L'aviv, that the person protesting admitted to the father, Lo Mehem and Lomar Lakuachu Biyadav, he's not believed to say it was bought in the hands of my father. Va'afilu b'chayi Aviv, and even during the lifetime of his father, Nasnu Leben, if it was given to the son, Sharei Mitoch Pachad, Hovdelo Legazlan, because we assume that any admission was just because of fear of the thief, Kid Rav Kahana, like Rav Kahana says. But the Rashbam continues, Aval ben Beno Shel Gazlan, when it comes to the grandson of the Gazlan, Yesh Lo Chazaka, he actually does have a Chazaka. Iyasi B'tayna Do Avua, the time Avi Yarashti v'Avi lo haya gazlan, if he makes a claim that I got it from my father who is not a gazlan, it's my grandfather that's the gazlan, but not my father, v'chi agav natoan and liyorish. In that case, actually, we would make a claim on behalf of the yoresh, the ilu haya aviv kayim, because had his father been alive, havetoin minach zevanta, he would have been able to claim, I bought it from you. V'lo have asi b'tanasa davu, he doesn't have to come based on his father, the grandfather. Af anu niton b'shvil hayoresh, so we also can make that claim on behalf of the yoresh. V'reisha de katani uman ein lo chazaka, and in the beginning when it says that the uman has no chazaka, b'deleka ede hodad l'tztad in katani, that's talking when you don't have witnesses of admission. You have to say, obviously, in a situation we're talking about the father himself, the uman himself, it has to be that there were no witnesses, because if there were witnesses in that case, of course, then we would say it would belong to the uman. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava says, Po'amim shafilu ben beno shel gazlan nami ein lo chazaka. There are times that even the grandson of a gazlan cannot have a chazaka. Hechidami, what would be an example of that? Could go into Kasi b'tanosa da abba davu. Let's say he's making his claim based on his grandfather who's a gazlan, then that would not be a good claim, wouldn't be a chazaka. And the Gemara continues, Hechidami gazlan, what exactly do we mean by a gazlan? And this is the Gemara that the Rashbam already referenced. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Kagon shehuchzak al sada zu begazlanusa. It means to say that there's a chazak about this particular field, that the person stole it. That's what we mean by gazlan. And the Gemara continues with the second opinion for Rav Chisda. Amar Rav Chisda says, Kagon de beis ploni shahargan nefashos aliske mammon. It's like, for example, the household of so-and-so. It's known that they kill people over money, meaning in general, if you're talking about a family, a person who it's known that he kills over money, that person is presumed to be a gazlan. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Uman ein lo chazaka, a craftsman is not able to make a chazaka, like we said before. Yorad me'um nasa, but if he descends from being a craftsman, meaning he's no longer a craftsman, so yesh lo chazaka, so then he can make a chazaka. Aris ein lo chazaka, sharecropper can't make a chazaka, also like we said before. Yorad me'arisusa, but if he leaves from being a sharecropper, yesh lo chazaka, so then he can make a chazaka. Ben shecholak, let's say a son separates from his father, meaning to say from the property of his father, so normally a son cannot make a chazaka on his father's property, it's assumed he has permission. And similarly, v'isha shenisgarsha, a wife, let's say she's divorced. Normally a wife cannot make a chazaka on her husband's property, but again, let's say she's divorced. So harehein kashar kol adam, they're like anybody else. The son that separates can make the chazaka. The wife that's divorced can make the chazaka in her ex-husband's property. The Gemara says, Bishlama ben shechalak. Now I understand the son that separates itzrich, so at least it's necessary to teach that. Kasal kadai dechamina, one might have thought that the father just forgives him, and that's why the father didn't protest, and maybe it's not a chazaka. Kamash malon, so the Bryce is teaching that it is a chazaka. Kamash malon delo, it teaches us that we don't just assume that he forgives the son. Ela isha shen is garsha, but when it comes to the wife who is divorced, so pshita, that's obvious. Of course she can make a chazaka in her former husband's property. She has no relationship with the husband anymore. And the Gemara says, lo no tzricha, it's necessary, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Zayin Amid Beis.